Hello, my angels, and welcome back to a new day, new reading. I want to see what this collective is going through. Like, what are you dealing with in this moment of time? And I have gotten this stick out, Hidden Secrets. So let's see, when it comes to this collective, what are they going through, dealing with in this moment of time? Okay, so resistance, intuition, and withdrawn. So the resisting card in this deck talks about secret admirer, suppressing, and timid. The intuition talks about heart song, telepathy, inner knowing, and the withdrawn is single, lonely, solitary. What I am feeling initially is that you could be suppressing your intuition when it comes to this period of time, so to speak, where you are maybe a bit more withdrawn. You are at least in solitary with yourself, right? You are single. I don't think you're necessarily lonely, but you could be suppressing this intuition when it comes to the heart song, like your inner knowing, that wisdom we carry within. It's tilting a bit. And therefore finding yourself drawing in to yourself to gain maybe clarity, or at least you are focusing on you right here, right now, being single. You could again be feeling not very outgoing. You could be in a period where you want to find yourself being more at home, kind of isolation vibes, right? But I want to get a bit more for this resistance. Clinging, holding on, obsession, and spying. And we have the twin flame. Could you know as well that you have a secret admirer? Yeah, you could. You could be feeling that something or someone is clinging on, but then again, maybe this resistance within you are holding on to within your own rights, right? Because if you are finding yourself thinking about that, or in some way, shape, or form embodying that resistance, your person, so to speak, would be in their own way dealing with the same thing, right? You are often, when it comes to the twin flame journey, you are often quite mirrored within your guys' connections. And because you are then in separation, you do not know it. And you have a tendency to think that they are not seeing, feeling, knowing the same thing that you do. And I'm not saying that your person is, but it's just to get you into the awareness that something here, when it ties into resistance with this collective, suppressing something, I'm very drawn to that word, suppressing. And I feel like it's something to do with your intuition. That's why you're finding yourself coming in to this feeling of wanting to isolate, right? Because you're seeking answers, and it may not be in the forefront of your mind, but then again, this reading would be finding you for a reason, right? But clinging, holding on, obsession, and spying. Could that also be something that you are suppressing, like you're resisting to see that, to focus on that? Yes, it very well could be. But then again, I think as well, like I said, within your own rights collector, you would be doing this. You would be holding on. You would be obsessive, maybe not to the extent of your person, but to resisting, not seeing, not trusting your intuition, your inner knowing within this moment of time. And that's why you're finding yourself coming into this isolation. We do that to gain clarity. And we may not even have that awareness within our minds, right? We are going on about our day. And if you have been feeling that kind of the outside world is a bit too noisy, it's a bit too much, you are not really wanting to be an outgoing person in this moment of time, you want to be at home, you are finding yourself being more of a homebody, right? I think in this moment of time, your angels, your team is doing this to help you come in to clarity with your intuition. Because you need to sit in it, you need to become aware of something here you are resisting to see. But let's see a bit more. Abandonment. Okay, left out, walked away, and cold. So this could have happened to you, right? With that person of yours. They could have left you, they could have walked away, they could have been acting very cold. And that can cause resistance within your guys' dynamic, because you are then suppressing these feelings, right? Not wanting to deal with it, so to speak. And again, I keep coming back to that withdrawn, because again, I don't think it's in the forefront of your mind, but there is a need to gain clarity, to gain perspective within this situation. It's like you are refusing to see something right when it comes to this abandonment. And it's quite the opposite energy, isn't it? Wanting to resist something, but still clinging on to it. But then again, you've been abandoned. And conflict. Okay. So it would be coming very back and forth within your mind, right? And then again, this makes sense. If you want to gain that center and gain that clarity and to trust your intuition, you need to sit in stillness. You need to sit with yourself, not having the outside world of interference, not having that noise present. If we are constantly on the go, if we are always out and about, we don't have that. We don't have that center built from within to just sit, to just be. And when we are just simply being, not doing anything, feelings would stir up within you, right? And this conflict, the decisions, the hot and cold multiple choices that this card talks about, that would be gaining clarity. You wouldn't be back and forth, because you would then be able to sit with that emotion to find that clarity and not feeling so confused. You could be in a bit of a brain fog when it comes to something here. Memories. So reminiscing, dwelling, and bittersweet. I think this comes to your person. This is why you're finding yourself this resistant, again, suppressing. It would be weighing heavy on your heart in this moment of time, collective. So don't make it fit. If this is not your energy and you're not finding yourself within this, it's not your reading. But what about the abandonment? Boundaries. I want one more for that. And bluff. So in this moment of time, right? Again, not trusting your intuition, feeling withdrawn, suppressing, resisting this within you. Those boundaries that you are trying to put up, it's, if you're being honest with yourself, it's kind of a bluff, right? Because it's a pretend. You are not really embodying the feeling of putting up that boundary You could be thinking that you are, but then again, you have this hot and cold, you are reminiscing. So if you're being completely honest with yourself in this moment of time, you are bluffing. And I don't think it's because you're doing that directly to your person, but then again, energetically. You are wearing a mask and you are refusing to see this. Again, with the suppressing of feelings. Instead of letting yourself feel this, you're pushing it away. You're not dealing with it correctly within this moment of time. If you don't let yourself sit with your feelings, to withdraw, to find that center within yourself where you can trust your intuition when it comes to this, how would you then be able to understand it? And how would you then be able to learn what it is that you need to learn within this moment of time? If you want to put up a boundary, you need to understand within yourself, why is it? It doesn't come from not dealing with the abandonment. You're hanging on there, but then again, you feel abandoned. You're conflicted about making a decision because there's a lot of memories tied to this, right? So this is all a bluff right now. Because you don't even know why you would be putting up those boundaries completely. You're still very much in this longing energy when it comes to your person. You're not trusting your inner knowing when it comes to this in this moment of time. What about intuition, my angels? Yeah. As we said, it's silence. No words, stone wall, frozen, and then perspective. Better off, happiness, clear headspace. To gain that belief, so to speak, within yourself, to be able to trust your intuition, what it is that you're feeling, your inner knowing, your guidance, your compass, right? You need to sit in stillness. You need to just be in this moment of time. That's the reason that you will be coming in to be able to gain perspective when it comes to this situation. And you would be finding yourself not hot and cold because you then know. You have sat with yourself and the emotions to make yourself feel what it is that you need to feel. Your feelings are okay, they are valid. So don't push them away. If you truly want to heal this within yourself, this abandonment that you are actually feeling, instead of holding on to it, release it by sitting in it. Gain understanding. Why is it that I feel abandoned? What went down? And what triggered in me? Why is it that I feel this? And when you are able to come into that understanding within yourself, why I am feeling like this, you are then able to walk through that fire because you have gained that clarity. But you need to withdraw, you need to center, you need to sit in it. Stillness. Welcome the stillness. It would be gaining perspective for this collective to just be, right? Not do anything, just be. The clarity will come because you are no longer pushing it away, right? Does it make sense? Withdrawn, hoping, okay, and confusion. So again, you have a lot of hope when it comes to something here, right? You have accepting faith and manifest, right? But then again, confusion, uncertainty, unclear, unsure. All of that confusion, right? When we sit in confusion, we do not sit obviously in clarity with ourselves, because we do not allow ourselves to actually find that center that we need to be able to see a situation clearly, to have understanding from it. Why did I react that way? Why do I feel that way? Why did I move that way, right? Why did I say what I then said? Why is it that in my process of thought, I keep coming back to this and this and this? If we don't sit in the emotion that we are feeling, we just simply push it away, you're not dealing with it correctly. To push something away is not to deal with it. You need to gain that understanding within yourself. Why am I pushing it away? What is it within me that I am so afraid to come into contact with, to face within myself? And I think for this collective, it has something to do with being abandoned. But you, in your own right, would rather right now go down memory lane, but still finding yourself being very conflicted about this, back and forth, back and forth. And we see that with the hoping and the confusion, the clinging on to this, but you're still suppressing it. So you want to put up a boundary, but it's all a bluff, because look at your energy. Do you get what I'm saying? What more when it comes to this, my angels? Releasing. You need to come into that. You need to release this. And you are not going to release it if you keep pushing it away. To release something, we need to sit in the emotion to gain that perspective of understanding within ourselves, right? Then we can walk through the fire. And when we have walked through the fire, we are able to turn that pain into power, and we are able to come into a release, because we now understand, why did I need that lesson, right? You need to sit in it to be able to release it. And suppressing it and pushing it away is not the answer. It's easier. It is. But it's not benefiting you in any way, shape, or form. Because then again, look at the confusion it puts you in with the back and forth. Hoping, confusion, conflicted, clinging, abandoned, bluff, boundaries. It's a lot of back and forth. And it's not reflecting what you actually then want, right, to draw in. With this being, in this moment of time, your energy, what are you seeing then in your outside world? Our outside world is a reflection of our internal, right? You would be seeing that. Your team is trying to get you to see this, to trusting that inner knowing, right? And you would be shown a lot about conflicting energy within your day-to-day life, coming to friendship, coming to family, coming to workplace. When you go out and about, for instance, if you go shopping, you would be seeing people that are conflicted. It's not necessarily arguing or fighting, but it could be when you go shopping, for instance, you will see someone standing with two groceries or two types of the same brand or something like that. Do you get what I'm saying? And they would be going back, which one do I? It would be small, but then again, it would be enough to get your attention. And it is to show you what you then need to work with, right? Does it make sense? Sit in it to gain that release within yourself, right? To come into that stillness when it comes to this situation. So you can then trust your intuition, right? Let's see a bit more here about the situation. So when it comes to this situation, right? What more do we need to know? I kind of want to see, let's see, if we say that if you tap into that energy, right? What will then happen, so to speak, within your body, within your vessel? So let's just see, when this collective is finally coming into that center, into that stillness, what will then happen, my angels? We have 2 more. Okay. You would then be able to put in the work, right? And that makes sense. Putting in that work, putting in that effort that you would need to come into a 10 of Cups, right? I'm not saying that if you just sit in this stillness for a couple of days and try to gain clarity and understanding, this will arrive at your door. But you will then show them, right, and yourself, that you are able to put in the work that you will need to maintain this. Does it make sense? It takes dedicated effort, right, to be able to walk through the fire consistently, to stay consistent. 8 of Pentacles, knowing that we need to work on ourselves, on our boundaries, on our emotions, on the way we move through life, right? 8 of Pentacles, it's beautiful. It's all about this self-improvement, right? It's about the work. It's about direction and perseverance, right? And you would need that if you want to maintain at some given point of time a 10 of Cups. And that's prosperity, right? That's a happy ever after in friendships, in love, in life. All of our cups is now fulfilled. And you would be able to stand there. But it needs dedicated effort. And if you truly want that at the end of a day, you need to be able to put in that dedicated effort when it comes to yourself, not pushing it away. Does it make sense? All of these burdens, right? All of these burdens, you would be finding yourself going to gain, again, that perspective that you need, the reflections that you need. You will be coming in to easier waters. You would release it, right? Ready to embark on something new. But wanting that smooth sailing, right? Relieve the stress and get rid of conflict and difficulties and coming to a flow within your own energy, right? And all of these burdens, they will drop one by one. Because you wouldn't any longer feel bound to it. You won't have that fog of confusion over your mind. Does it make sense? Because you would have learned by putting in that work towards your wish fulfillment, right? And that needs to be released. What needs to be released? So these burdens don't overwhelm me. So I am able to drop the ones, right? All of these burdens you do not need to carry. But there's a need to walk through the fire within this moment of time. So if we take it a bit back, right? If we take it back to right here and right now, with you again, collective, all of the energy, back and forth, confusion, mind ache that you're sitting in. Let's get a bit more about that, my angels. So the energy this collective is embodying in this moment of time, what do we need to see, understand about that? Okay. 10 of Pentacles, 8 of Swords, King of Swords. So there's something here when it comes to a Ten of Pentacles, right? Could it be finances? Yes, but it could very much be that responsibility, that, again, the traditional, the stable, the trust, the reconciliation, the happy family card. Again, these two are in their own rights very similar, right? But you are holding yourself stuck. You have put yourself there in the middle of this, putting on a blindfold. She is not, yes, she is bound, but she is free. She can take off the blindfold. She can take off these buttons. There's nothing holding her. There's not a person there holding that onto her. Do you get what I'm saying? So she has the ability to release it, but she's choosing not to. She's choosing to stay stagnant, to be a captive of her own imagination, her own process of thought, right? Swords embody that energy of our thoughts, what we say, how we relay it, right? You are being very, again, with the frustration, a bit defensive. You could be a bit defensive, but you're feeling unable to move. And that is simply not true. But you are, again, resisting it. You are resisting the change that you need to make within this moment of time to move on from this, to get through it. Does it make sense? Could you be, again, with those boundaries, right? If we take it back to that card in the beginning, King of Swords, he embodies that. He is very authority. He has clear discernment. He knows what he wants and what he does not want. But these two combines. It talks into that energy of feeling, of bluffing that boundary, right? Because you're keeping yourself stuck. You're not seeing it. Again, you are pushing it away. You are refusing to take up that blindfold, take off that blindfold, and take off what is holding her captive. Why 10 of Pentacles? Death. So the 10 of Pentacles, we have the Death card over it, right? Endings bring new beginnings, and that is true. But it's also about change, right? It's about transformation. It's about rebirth. It's about getting into that energy of one door closes, another one opens. But to get to that state within your own mind, you then need to release yourself from this. You are not stuck. You are not stagnant. But you're making yourself feel like this because you are pushing the work you need to be doing right now away. Come into that center, collective. Come into that stillness of releasing, seeing a new day, putting in that work. And it's not going to be easy, but no one said it was going to be easy, right? No one promised you easy on this journey. See the lesson. See the lesson. 8 of Swords. And 7 of Swords, yeah. Again, it ties into the energy we said in the beginning, because you are very much deceiving your own mind, by being hot and cold, back and forth, not sitting in your truth, in your clarity. So right here, right now, this is very much your energy. And it makes sense. Again, if we take it back to the bluff, because it is. Because you're not sitting in the clarity of it. You're sitting in that confusion. And you are playing tricks on your own mind, collective. You are playing tricks on your own mind. Three of Swords. Again, this would be around that person of yours that you saw yourself having this with, right? But to get to a new day with ease, calmness, center, with a true release, we need to accept that endings bring new beginnings, and we need to be able to sit and transmute this energy. This is not serving you in this moment of time. This needs to be released, not pushed away. Stop pushing it away. Put in that work, because look at where it would get you to. You would be finding yourself in a new place. And again, it would be a rebirth. King of Swords. Justice. So with justice here, it talks about, yes, the harmony, the fairness, the accountability, right? The integrity, the consciousness, the careful selections, the right decision. But if we have, for you, collective, the justice card here, it could indicate that karmic wheel of ours being at play when it comes to this, and especially when it comes to that King of Swords. But I want one more. The Devil. The Devil. It is very dependent, right? Unhealthy environment, greed, lust, fearful, addictions, pessimism. And there is a bit of that energy, isn't there? But if you, again, want justice when it comes to that devil energy that you are, that we all have within, in our own rights, right? You need to then be able to come into the energy of the King of Swords, because he is clear. He is very clear. He makes fair decisions. He's very intelligent. He moves with logic. He moves with logic. He do not have any fork. He do not have any fork. Oh my God, fog over his mind. He's very diplomatic. He's loyal. He has authority. Like we said, he speaks his truth. He is the no bullshit king, right? And if you want to have justice over the devil, there is a need for you to again come into that clarity, come into that center within yourself, so you are able to embody that energy. And if that devil is in some way, shape, or form tied to you, let it be work, let it be friends, let it be love interest, let it be whatever, right? You would need that energy to put up those boundaries without being a bluff, without having a mask, without deceiving yourself. Because you would be standing in clarity. You would move with integrity. I want one more for the devil. Temperance. Again, with that balance. There is a very deep-seated need for this collective to gain balance. And we have said that throughout this whole reading, right? But balance. Calm, peaceful, pure. Soul-centered. Temperance. I want one more for that. The Emperor. Could this also be coming in, so to speak? If you are, let's just see that, right? You have been finding yourself in some sort of dynamic, right? When it comes to a person, you and another person, love interest wise, right? If you are able to tap into that King of Swords, getting yourself out of the Eight of Swords, right? And come into that, move with logic, see what is truly there by gaining that center, that stillness, sitting in it, understanding your emotions. You can then move without it being a bluff when it comes to your communication, because you would be standing in it. You would be embodying that energy. Does it make sense? A justice could take place when it comes to a person that may have been deceiving, may have been embodying a lot of devil energy. They could have certain addictions, may drugs and alcohol and party, and a lot of maybe materialistic, right? Maybe they care a lot about money, with the Ten of Pentacles as well being here, just again, but removing that, so to speak. Again, being able to put up a boundary, let justice, let the divine balancing out that scale of yours by standing in your truth with the King of Swords. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say here? With the Temperance, again, it's all about again, balance, yes, but compassion. It's about peace. It's about purity throughout our vessel, throughout our soul. The Emperor, he is stable, he's secure, he's loyal, he is also moving through life with a lot of respect, right? He has ambitions, he has a lot of integrity, again, like the King of Swords. And that could be an outcome, but I think it's more when it comes to you embodying that energy collective. And we do, if you are finding yourself as being in a female vessel, don't be scared about having the Emperor here. We need to gain balance within ourselves, within our vessel, right? Throughout this journey, we need to come in again to an Emperor, but we also need to become an Empress. We need to find that balance within our divine masculine and divine feminine, because we all have that energy, embody that from within. And you could be right now in a season where you need to come into balance with your masculine energy. You could have been more moving within the female energy for quite some time, not having centered, balancing out your masculine. Does it make sense? The Emperor. When it comes to this situation, the Sun, very masculine energy. Let it be what you are then able to attract, right? But I think it's more to tie this collective into that lens, right? That you need to come into center, into stillness, into, again, seeing clearly, making the right moves, taking the emotions out of it, so to speak. Not that you need to be cold, but you need to move with logic. When it comes to this situation, you need to be able to see things clearly by thinking logically, not having emotions or mind fog over you, then going back and forth, but coming in to that center, that a masculine energy that is not wounded are then able to embody, right? You as well need to embody that. Whether you are female or male, it does not matter with our vessel. We need to have a balance within that energy, whatever you are in your vessel, right? And the Sun, the happiest card in the deck. Ambition, self-confidence, enlightenment, clear thinking. And again, this whole reading is about that. You would sit in clarity. You would sit in happiness, in peace with yourself and your mind. Not being confused about turning left or right? Because you will know. You will trust that intuition of yours. I kind of want to see. I feel like there are some cards here. This wants to still come out within the tarot deck. And I want to see what is the energy, so to speak, that the universe want this collective to work on in this moment of time. We know the 8 of Swords, sorry. There's a reason why I said 9. You know the 8 of Swords is something that you need to work on. But I feel like there is more here. There is something here that the universe wants you to work on when it comes to your energy in this moment of time. The Hermit and the confusion, the 7 of Cups. Again, it's tying into the whole reading, so don't make it fit. Go into that Hermit. Again, we have said that throughout the whole reading, so go watching from the beginning so I don't have to repeat myself all the time. But the Hermit, it's all about moving into ourselves, right? It's about kind of closing ourselves off to the world, the outside noise that we talked about in the beginning. You could be finding yourself wanting to meditate, or it's something that you need to do. You need to make that a practice right here, right now, because meditation does provide clarity when we are just sitting, right? And we don't let the process of thought overtake our minds. If we are able, again, we said it in the beginning, to just be, not do anything, not feel the need to figure things out, but simply be. Just sitting in it. All of that confusion, all of that mind fog, all of that uncertainty about which cup do I drink from, which cup do I take from in this moment of time, you would then be able to release it. Because this would bring you in to a state of mind within yourself where you are no longer confused. You see clearly. You would have been gaining understanding, right? And you would be able to have the right perception when it comes to this. Solidarity time, right? Contact with the roots. Withdraw from society. Patience. Prudence. Careful planning. Self-discovery. Meditation. Moderation. Alonement. And again, if we take it back to the first spread with those cards that came out, not talked about that. The single, the solitary, right? Solitude, maybe it was. But what, when it comes to the 7, finding your strength. being able to tame that lion within. And the Nine of Swords, it came out. Everything we say in a reading is for a reason. But the sadness, the stuck energy, right? The sleepless nights, the extreme stress, the anxiety, the resentment, the lack of confidence, the hopelessness, the self-hatred. But I think it's, again, you could be dreaming a lot, of finding it hard to get to sleep. Again, having that stillness, being in it, because you are pushing it away. And the further you push it away, the more your team would push it to you, because you need to see it. You need to walk through this with that strength of yours, getting into that empowerment that you would embody from within, taking action, being clear, locking in, learning to tame that lion that you have within. And it comes with stillness by sitting in it. The answers will come to you, but you need to be able to stop and smell the flowers. Is there more here, my angels? Queen of Swords. Strong, sharp-minded, right? Authority. She is just like the king of Swords. No bullshit. She will cut people out as needed, with no excuses to herself, because she does not take up that bullshit. This, it does not serve me. It doesn't sit right with me. I need to be able to come into center, come into clearance within myself, because this does not serve me. Again, with the Ten of Wands, all of that you're putting onto yourself, taking all of those burdens on, not knowing I can drop them. I do not need to carry them. I am choosing that myself, instead of letting myself walk through the emotions and release all of the burdens. I am choosing to carry them with me. Release them. Learn that you embody a tremendous amount of strength. But you need to stop and understand me, right? I know it's easier said than done, but having all of that confusion come into center and come into clarity, and this confusion will be gone. You will be finding strength to overcome this, not being in that Nine of Swords energy. Because you will then, again, like the king, you will embody him and her. Could this also be, again, to tie you to that person of yours, that they would then, again, like you, we said that in the beginning, very mirror connection, walk through the same thing? Yes, but this is finding you to gain that center, gain that clarity. The Hierophant, but kind of in reverse, right? Could there be something wanted to be very untraditional? Yes, the Hierophant in reverse doesn't have to be bad. Upright, he's very traditional, right? He's also a spiritual mastermind. In reverse, he's more of a free spirit, so to speak, right? He's not that traditional. He can move in other ways. And it's coming out kind of like this, or like this, sorry. I have to put it correctly to you. But more wanting to go in that direction. So you could be finding yourself not working so traditionally when it comes to this. Again, have the understanding that what you see online about people talking about spirituality, talking about meditation, talking about how to gain center, how to gain clarity, know that you can do it in whatever way that works for you. You do not have to do what every other person is doing. Find your own way. If you don't, you won't be coming into this, because you won't have that understanding, have that awareness within yourself. This works for me. And it doesn't have to work for anybody else than you. So if you find it hard, right, to just sit in stillness and meditate, then don't. Then don't. Go out in nature, put on music, do whatever, again, to you to come into that center within yourself, right? Just because, again, this is coming to a mind for a reason, you see a monk and he's meditating and he's just sitting there. Kumbaya. If you are finding it simply that you are not able to do that, there's too much going on up here. Find another way to gain that center, gain that clarity, gain that stillness, but that still allows you to come into reflection with the things that you then need to reflect upon. Does it make sense? You do not have to go about it in a way that is traditional, that is how every other person you see online, for instance, and it's coming to my mind for a reason, is doing it. Do it in your way, what makes sense to you. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. If it makes sense for you and it's helping you to come into that, sitting in that, gaining understanding within that energy, beautiful. Who are those people to say that that's not the way to move? If that works for you, go do it. You know? Again, with that strength. Just one more card for this, my angels. Oh my God. But forward moving with the Charity. Eight of Wands. Communication, yes, but I think it's more like in the good news, good ideas. You could be finding yourself then moving forward quite fast. Again, if you are finding yourself, so to speak, or coming into that, again, if we take it back to you are then able to embody that energy, and you are no longer resisting, pushing this away, but you are finally tapping into that thing that you need to heal coming to this situation. Again, watch the reading from the beginning. I think you would be finding yourself on a Chariot journey, forward moving, steady fast, putting in that work, putting in that effort, but you need to be consistent with it, right? You need to be able to show up each and every day, being consistent. It's not about maintaining this energy for a week or a month. It's about being consistent, moving forward with it each and every day. Again, taking it back to that Eight of Pentacles that you would be finding yourself coming into when this lesson has been learned. Putting in the work, putting in that effort. Does it make sense? Three of Pentacles, beautiful. Beautiful. The Three of Pentacles, it talks about, well, yes, business ideas, but in the traditional tarot spread, it's three masterminds coming together to create, yes, a masterpiece, but also to build something. Build something, and that could be on the horizon for you or in the cards for you, and that could be tied into a lot of good news, right? It could be when you do coming into work, or could be coming into something that you love to do, or you will be finding that you love to do when in this energy, because you will be gaining that clarity within yourself, right? But it would put you on this forward moving track within your life, and it would be a lot of great ideas, a lot of great news, a lot of positive energy just flowing towards you, right? It would be very beautiful. And then again, we have the Wheel. Learn to make that wheel spin in your favor. It's an energy you can embody. So that wheel spins in your favor. But it's all about how we choose to move, how we choose to show up each and every day, how we choose to act, how we choose to put in that finger towards ourselves and not out there. Moving with your clarity, you are able to spin that wheel in your favor consistently, because you are showing them what energy you then embody. that would be paying off. Does it make sense? I hope it does. I think for the right collective it will. Just to end this reading, I want to give you some message cards from your team. Oh, that was a lot. However, it is time to stop letting worry rule you. Instead, get excited about the future and all it will bring. That energy and emotion you put out comes back to you with a little conscious effort on your part. What that happy ending can and will be yours, believe that. It ties into the whole reading now, doesn't it? Go back to the heart of who you truly are. There you will find peace. Look at your life in its entirety, acknowledge any old wounds and then release them. Use what they taught you as added strength. Keep moving forward with renewed sense of confidence. Again, it's tying into the reading. Learn to ride the waves of life. When faced with difficult times, you can either fight against the current or go with it. So ask yourself, what is to be gained by depleting your energy, fighting against it? Don't do that to yourself. The last one. Whenever you talk to us, it is never going unheard. We hear every single word. This is your confirmation that we are assisting you, guiding you, and ensuring your wishes finally coming to fruition. Be patient. Everything will come together for you, and it will. But you need to show up consistently for yourself. You need to lock in. You need to have that awareness and that understanding with yourself. It takes that to embody that energy, to have that, to maintain that, to understand that, right? What a reading. What a reading. Exciting things for this collective, but lock in. Okay, my angels, that was today's reading. So again, if you stayed through it, thank you. And great things are coming for you, collective. Tap into that, sit in that stillness, gain that center. You would be seeing amazing things coming to that within yourself, right? But thank you so much for tapping in, for tuning in and listening. And I will be seeing you another day, another time in another reading. Bye, my angels. Bye.